how to increase your chances of finding the one. So what do we mean by the one? The one is the perfect guy for you. So the guy who is the one for you may not be the one for someone else, and vice versa. So we're talking about, how do you find the guy that's right for you, the guy that you connect with, the guy that you would be happy being with, the guy that you have great experiences with, right? And now in this audio, I'm going to be talking about one simple thing that you can do to increase your chances of finding the one. Now, what is that one simple thing? That one simple thing is, you have to be open to dating multiple men. I'm going to say it again. Be open to dating multiple men. The way that you are going to find the one for you is that you have to be open to dating multiple men. Now, what's interesting is, I've been coaching, for years, and every time I bring up this topic, there's a lot of women that were like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, there's a lot of pushback about dating multiple men. But in this audio, I'm going to talk about why dating multiple men will help you find the one, how and what you got to do. I'm going to talk about what you need to actually do while you're dating these multiple men, and how you're actually going to find the one by dating multiple men. So that's what we're going to talk about in this audio. Now, why would you need to date multiple men in order to find the right guy for you? So the reason why is because when you date multiple men, it gives you more options to choose from. So you have more chances to be exposed to the right guy. It gives you more options to choose from. So you have more chances to be exposed to the right guy. Now, what you got to understand is this: in order for you to find that guy, to find the one, you have to put in some work. See, it's rare that it's going to just sort of fall in your lap. And that's what a lot of people think about when they think about dating and relationships. They're just like, oh, I'm just going to wait around and, things are just going to happen when it happens. And, in every other aspect of your life, that's not true. That if you want to make money, you got to get a job or run a business, and you got to put in some work to make this money. If you want to lose weight, you got to go to the gym, you got to eat right in order to lose this weight. But when it comes to, dating, it's just supposed to happen. I'm just supposed to find the right guy without doing anything, right? So the thing is that you have to put in some sort of work in order for you to find that guy. And so what happens is that the work that you're putting in is that you are actually going out and dating more than one guy at a time. Right? So, when you're dating more than one guy at a time, it gives you more access to these guys. And then out of those multiple guys that you're dating, you're going to figure out which one you connect with. Now, the thing is that what's good about dating multiple men is that you'll see that all men are not the same by dating multiple men. See, what happens is that sometimes, women will date a guy and they're just dating that one guy. And so they're seeing or experiencing their dating lives through that one guy. So when that one guy does something that she doesn't like, then what happens is that one guy becomes the representation of men. And then so if that guy is being a jerk, then it's all these men are jerks. If that guy is being an asshole, all these men are being assholes, right? But the thing is that if you are dating multiple men, let's say you're dating 3 or 4 guys at a time, that one guy might be a jerk, but then the other guy you're dating is not a jerk. And then the other guy you're dating is pretty cool. And then maybe that fourth guy you're dating is sort of like weird, but you have a more well-rounded perspective on men in general. So then your outlook on men isn't, oh, well, all men are jerks because that other guy you're dating is not a jerk. Right? And so that can lead you into seeing that, okay, well, this guy who's not a jerk might be more in the direction that I want to go. And he might be, I'm finding I'm having more of a connection with this guy who's not a jerk. Right? But see, the thing is that if you're only dating that one guy who's a jerk, then you spend so much time dating this guy who's a jerk. And then if it doesn't work out, or, most likely it doesn't because he's being a jerk. When it doesn't work out, you're upset and you're like, oh, all these men are jerks, all these men are dogs. And then that, it basically gets you in a state of mind where you're not really motivated to even date anymore. You're not motivated to even talk to any more guys because that last guy you were with was such a jerk, and you're sick of the whole thing. You're like, I'm sick of this. What's the point? I'm just going to find another jerk. Right? But when you are dating multiple men, what's happening is that you're having all these different experiences simultaneously. And so what happens is that your mind can't even let you know or tell you that all men are jerks, because it'll be false, because you actually experience a guy who is not a jerk at the same time you're experiencing a guy who is a jerk. So then okay, well, all men aren't jerks. I'm just not choosing the right guy. You understand? Or I actually have the right guy here and I need to go more in that direction. You see what I'm saying? And it makes you also find the right guy faster. So what happens is that if you were dating this jerk for, 3 or 4 months, and then it just doesn't work out, that's 3 or 4 months that you wasted, and now you're back to square one, and you're back to square one feeling, unmotivated and annoyed by the whole situation, versus if you're dating 2 or 3 guys and one of them was a jerk, and then, you're just like, well, he's a jerk, I'm gonna just stop seeing him. But at the same time, you're seeing this other guy who was a cool guy, who was a guy that you got along with, who was a guy that you connected with. And now you can, continue to do things with him. Right? So the thing is that what you need to do is you need to see more than one man at a time while you're dating. And since you're dating, and, you're not going to necessarily be exclusive with any one guy. See, this is the mistake that a lot of women make, is that they'll date a guy and they're getting to know him and they're like, yeah, he seems cool. I like him or whatever. And so another guy approaches her and he's like, hey, how you doing? Let's go on a date. Here's my number, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, no, I'm sort of seeing some other guy. But you're not really with that guy. You're just dating him. So you and him have no commitments. That guy that you're dating, you're not committed to him. So you're still open to date other men. So it would be beneficial to you to also engage with that guy while you're dating that guy you're dating now. Because just in case it doesn't work out with that guy, or that guy turns out to be a jerk, and then you're at the same time while you're dating him, you can still see this other guy and see how that goes, instead of just dating that one guy and then it doesn't turn out how you expected. And again, you're back to the drawing board. Now, I've heard a lot of women say, well, I can't concentrate on more than one guy at a time. But the thing is that you actually can. You don't necessarily have to, continue. You don't have to see every guy in the same capacity. You don't have to have a long drawn out date with every dude. You can go on a coffee date with a guy, see if the vibe is there. And if the vibe is there, then you can continue to see him another time, even while you are dating that other guy that you've been seeing for the past 2 months. Right? See, when you're trying to be exclusive with a guy that you're just dating, a lot of times what's happening is that guy that you're dating is also dating other women. And sometimes he might end up sticking with that other girl. So now you're thinking, oh, this is so great. You know, this guy's cool. And you're thinking, oh, we're going to be together and all this other stuff. But he never said anything was exclusive between you two. And then at any moment he could disappear. He could fall off and you'll never see him again. And now you're upset. You're wondering what happened. Right? So the thing is that until you and a man is exclusive, right, then you still should be continuing to date other guys. You have to keep your options open, because when you keep your options open, that leaves room for you to be able to see more guys. And then when you are able to see more guys, you're exposed to more men. And then by being exposed to more men, then you increase the chances of you choosing and finding the right guy. Right? Now, the question I always get is this. As women, they'll say, well, you know, I don't want to have sex with all these guys. Like, how am I going to be, if I'm dating like 3 or 4 or 5 guys, you know, like, how am I going to be able to do this? Now, you don't need to have sex with every guy you go on a date with, but you should be open to dating more men. So the thing is, like, for example, like I was saying, you go on a coffee date with a guy, you are seeing if you like him, if there's any sort of connection, there's any chemistry, are you feeling him? Now, if you're not feeling him, you don't have to see that guy again. If you are feeling him, then you can see him again, right? And then at the same time, while you're seeing another guy, you might go to get coffee with. Because what's going to happen is that a lot of the guys that you see, you're not going to really have too much of a connection with. But what you're doing is that you're getting yourself used to being comfortable dating different types of guys. That will increase, again, the chances of you finding the right one. Now, you having sex is up to you. It's up to how you feel, what you want to do. If you want to have sex with all the guys, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool also. You choose what you want to do. But the dating of the multiple men is more for you to figure out which type of guys you want. And also what's happening is that you're learning more about what you want and what you don't want. See, what most people don't understand is that when you're trying to get into a relationship or you're trying to have these interactions, you start to learn more about what you want and what you don't want through the experiences. See, you can say to yourself what you think you want and what you think you don't want, but you're never really going to know what you want or don't want unless you are actually having the experience, right? So the experience is the thing that's going to give you that indicator of if you're feeling it or not, because you're actually having the experience in real time. So you say to yourself, I want A, B, and C, but then you're actually doing the experience of A, B, and C. And then while you're doing the experience of A, B, and C, then you see how you actually feel in real time about A, B, and C, and see if you really are into it or not. So this is what happens when you date multiple guys, or when you're out here dating different guys or whatever. You'll start to see, oh, you know what? I thought that I really was into guys who are this way, but I noticed those 2 guys that I went out with last week, they were like that, and I wasn't really feeling it. Or you might say, hey, at first I thought I wouldn't like a guy or guys who are like this, this, and this. And then you notice you went out with a guy who was like that, that, and that. And then you notice that you liked it. But that only happened because you had the experience. So having the experience is the thing that's going to make you know whether or not you are into what you're into or you're not into what what you're doing. So it's very important to have that experience, which is why it's very beneficial for you to go out there and, date multiple guys, right? Now, as you're dating these guys and you're making these things happen, how do you find the one? How do you find the one that's right for you? How do you actually narrow this down and actually make this work for you, right? So what's going to happen is that if you're dating all these guys, you are going to basically have multiple men that you are having experiences with, right? Now, out of the guys that you date, you choose the one you want to be with by recognizing the guy that you connect with the most. So at some point, you might, want to continue seeing a guy and he might want to continue seeing you. So if you both want to continue seeing each other, then you make that happen, right? But the thing is that when you are dating multiple dudes, let's say you were dating 3 or 4 guys, right? And one of those guys out of the 3 and 4 guys you really liked, right? Now, let's say that one guy that you really like also really likes you. And then y'all get into that conversation or to that situation where you're having that talk where you guys want to be exclusive. You guys want to continue seeing each other, right? Now, that decision was made based off of you being able to pick that guy out of the 4 guys that you're dating, right? But the thing is, you would have probably never met that guy if you didn't decide to date multiple men. Because let's say, for example, that guy that you really have that connection with was the 3rd guy you met. Let's say you met this first guy, you've been seeing him for maybe, 2 or 3 months. Then you met a second guy. And then that 3rd guy, you just met him maybe like, a month ago. And then the 4th guy, you met him, last week or whatever, right? So even though that first guy you were with, that you were dating for 3 or 4 months, y'all have a cool, okay time, but there's still not that strong connection. You're not really feeling him. You're like, he's okay. He's cool, but it doesn't give you that feeling, right? Now you go out and you meet that second guy, and the second guy's cool, but sometimes he's annoying. Sometimes he's cool, but maybe the sex is good. So you're sort of like, I'm gonna just, keep seeing him or whatever, right? Now this 3rd guy you met, you're very attracted to him. You think about him a lot. You really like him. The sex is good or whatever. Everything is just so falling into place. And the 4th guy you met, you're not really, that into him. You could sort of take it or leave it, whatever it is. But the point is, you started to feel and have that connection with that 3rd guy, right? And the only reason you had that connection is because you decided to date multiple men. Because if you didn't decide to date multiple men, you would have been seeing that first guy and kept seeing that first guy and then tried to make it work with that first guy, even though it really wasn't that strong of a connection, and you would have never met that 3rd guy, or that 3rd guy would have approached you and said, hey, let's go out. And then you would have said, oh, well, I can't. I'm sort of seeing some other guy. You see what I'm saying? So this is why it's important for you to be dating multiple men, and so that you can give yourself the opportunity to increase your chances of finding the one. So now that you've found that 3rd guy you want to continue to see, what do you do with other guys? Well, all you got to really do is let them know and say, hey, listen, I had a really great time with you guys, but I started seeing this other guy, and it's going someplace, so we could just be friends or whatever it is, right? So, because remember, when you are dating men, you are not exclusive with them. You are not their girlfriend, and they're not your boyfriend, right? So you don't have any ties to them. There's no commitment there yet. You guys are just dating. So, the thing is that you should call them or, let them know that you're not going to be dating them anymore. Because what's going to happen is that if you see this third guy and you're seeing him exclusively, and you don't tell the other guys that you are, you started seeing a guy exclusively, like you guys are on some boyfriend and girlfriend type of stuff. If you don't tell these guys that that's happening, then what's going to happen is that these guys are going to try to continue to call you and try to get with you. Because what a lot of women will do is that they will just sort of stop calling them. And then or if the other guys they're dating, will try to call the girl and she'll just ignore the call. But ignoring the call doesn't really do anything except for you just not confronting those other guys at the time. But what's going to happen is that, you'll ignore the call and then they'll try to call again, maybe in a couple days. And then you're still going to ignore the call. And then so at some point they're going to probably get the hint like, oh, I guess she's not interested anymore, or, it's not going to go down. But what happens is that there's going to be some guys who are going to, still try to call you consistently, or they'll stop calling you now, but then they'll try to call you again, maybe a month later or whatever. Right. So it's best for you to just let them know like, hey, listen, I had a really great time with you, but I sort of started seeing this other guy and it's really going somewhere or whatever. And trust me, more guys will appreciate and respect that more than if you were just to sort of like, just disappear and not say anything, and them thinking, oh, well, maybe if I call her again next month or in a couple weeks or whatever, try to get back to her, I can get back in touch with her. So to save yourself from trying to deal with guys who are going to be like that, it's better that you just let them know that, hey, I'm seeing this, new guy. Right. So what you got to understand is that when you're open to dating multiple men, you are giving yourself the opportunity to find the right guy for you, because you're giving yourself more options. You're giving yourself more, time to be able to see more men so that you can pick and choose better men for you. Right? So you're giving yourself that experience to be able to get with, different guys and to see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. You get to have more experiences. You get to learn more about yourself and what you really want when it comes to a man.